Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
We have you loud and clear.
Great. Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hi, my name is Ashley Scotto, and I am the Library Media Specialist at Central Boulevard Elementary School in Bethpage, New York. Our school has such a diverse population, but one thing we all love is space. To celebrate our reading achievements this year, we surprised our students with the opportunity to talk to astronauts at the International Space Station. Our students can't wait to learn more. Now here is our first question.
Hi, my name is Matthew. How do you go about your everyday life in zero gravity?
Hey, Matthew, that's a great question, and welcome to the International Space Station. You know, our everyday life up here is very similar to you there on the ground. We have a schedule, we work, we do science and maintenance up here. We work out every day, lots of exercise to keep us healthy. We eat food, but the one weird thing is that sometimes you walk into a room and somebody's on the ceiling or they're running on the wall. And so that's been the one thing that I've had to get used to here is it's a little different when you're in zero gravity, but for the most part, it's the same.
Hi, my name is Hanya. What was your favorite book in 5th grade?
Hello, Hanya. One thing that I loved to read was stories about people going on big adventures because I knew that when I was an adult, I wanted to go on big adventures. One of those books was The Chronicles of Narnia. It told all about this fantasy land and adventure and exploring and new things that you can learn. And what I found is that when you read books, you get to go on trips in your mind, even if you can't go on trips in reality. So that's what really got me dreaming about all the things I could do when I grew up.
Hi, my name is Bryce. How do you take out the trash in space?
Hey, Bryce, that's a great question, too. So here in space, we have trash bags that we use, and we put the trash in there, and then eventually we get a Cygnus vehicle or a cargo vehicle that comes up. We load all of our trash into that, and then it burns up in the atmosphere when it undocks and goes back to Earth. So that way, we don't get any trash on Earth, but we get to get rid of the trash up here.
Hi, my name is Esmeralda. How do you brush your teeth?
Well, Esmeralda, I will tell you that brushing your teeth is very important. You should always do it 2 times a day when you get up and when you go to bed. Even when you're in space, it's no excuse. And it's actually almost just like we do on Earth. So I have a little bag that has my toothbrush in it, and I have my toothpaste in it. And the one difference is that after I brush my teeth, I actually swallow the toothpaste up here because there's no other good place to put it.
Hi, my name is Angad. What is your favorite food to eat in space?
Oh, man, I think my favorite food so far has been some M&Ms. I think we have some here for you guys. Let's see. Yeah, I guess they're candy-coated almonds. I'll hand you the scissors while we do this. But I love to eat things that are small up here and fun to play with. And Anne can show you a little trick there. It doesn't take very much. But you can play catch.
Hi, my name is Aaron. What is your least favorite food to eat in space?
All right, so all the food that we have actually tastes pretty good. But as Nichole is going to show you, some of the foods that are a little more challenging to eat are ones that are really crumbly. So she's going to show you a couple of crackers. And we have to be really careful when we eat these. In fact, we usually eat them by the air intake so that all the crumbs will go. And as she opens up those crackers, you can see some of those pieces of crumbs flying away. So it all tastes good, but some things are a little more challenging to eat than others.
Hi, my name is Gina. What is one piece of advice you have for students interested in going to space?
Oh man, I would say that NASA wants everybody and anybody who's really good at their job. So figure out what you really like in life. I loved math. That's what I studied growing up. Anne's an engineer by trade, but we're both pilots because we both love to fly. So I would say find what you love, get really good at it, find a bunch of people that you like to hang around and be a good teammate, and you can get anywhere in life. So I like to say hard work and teamwork get you anywhere you want to go. So pick what you like, follow your passion, and you could get to space someday.
Hi, my name is Natalie. Can you describe a moment when an experiment didn't go as planned?
Yeah, Natalie, this actually happens kind of frequently, but it's also intentional because science means all science is asking really interesting questions and then figuring out a really kind of organized way to answer those questions. And on the space station, we are literally on the edge of what human beings know. And so when scientists say, I think something's going to go like this up on the space station, when we fly it up here, we're actually checking to see if that's how it's really going to go. Sometimes it's practical on, does this piece of equipment reach over to this piece of equipment? And sometimes it's looking at things like on a really, really small microscopic level and seeing how those little cells and little pieces move around. And so things often don't go quite as planned. That's one of the reasons that we're here, having humans here to be able to correct those experiments and get some good data out of them. So the advice I'd have to you is always stay flexible, and if something doesn't go as planned, change the plan a little bit.
Hi, my name is Cole. What is the coolest thing you ever seen in space?
Oh man, I think the view is the coolest thing. I will admit the aurora is gorgeous. So we just went through, the fall and winter season we're in a solar max right now. So the aurora was really active and we got to see some beautiful greens and reds and whites. And it is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, dancing across the sky right out the cupola.
Hi, my name is Eliza. What do you think is the coolest piece of technology?
Well, Eliza, I think this whole space station is the coolest piece of technology that humans have ever created. It is so massive, it is about the size of a football field. And one thing that's really cool about the space station is that if you think about Legos, right, all your Lego pieces snap together. Well, the space station is like a really big Lego set. It was a bunch of pieces that were flown up all separately, and then they all connected to each other. And all of those pieces were made in all different countries. They launched at different times. But when they got up to outer space, all the pieces fit together just like two Legos. It was such a good design. So I think the space station itself, which is about as big as a pretty decent-sized house, I think itself is the coolest piece of technology I've seen.
Hi, my name is Cora. What is the hardest part of becoming an astronaut?
Hey, Cora. So we do a lot of training once we get selected to be an astronaut. As soon as I showed up to NASA, there's 2 years of initial training just to be eligible for a space flight. And then you have another 1.5 to 2 years of training on top of that for the mission. So I think the toughest part for me in the training was actually the neutral buoyancy lab. It's that giant pool that we have, and we go practice spacewalks. It's the most physically challenging, but also mentally challenging thing that we do. But also it's the most rewarding because it's just you and your buddy. You're in the pool or you're out the door in the vacuum of space, and you have to figure out how to fix whatever you went out there to fix. And you have to troubleshoot and work together to get back inside safely and get repressurized and out of the suits. So challenging, but also rewarding.
Hi, my name is Edison. How do you sleep with no gravity?
Hi, Edison. We actually sleep pretty similar to the ground from the point that we close our eyes, we get a little sleepy, and then we kind of doze off. Now, but where we are physically, we're not lying on a bed, right? We don't have beds up in space. What we have are sleeping bags. How many of you have slept in a sleeping bag? Probably quite a few. So we take a sleeping bag and we hook it to the wall in a couple of places. Because if I don't hook it to a wall, I might go to sleep in this module and then float over to another module in the middle of the night. I might bump my head. So we hook ourselves to a wall inside of a sleeping bag.
Hi, my name is Jackson. What is your favorite part of your job?
Oh man, I think my favorite part is being here and floating. But also, I think the best part about the International Space Station is all of the science that we get to do up here. There are scientists out there who spend their entire lives trying to figure out a problem and fix it or solve it. And then they trust us with that science, and we're the ones who actually execute it up here. So I really, really enjoy doing all of the science. It's really precious, and it's an honor to be a part of the science experiments that all of these scientists have come up with.
Hi, my name is Hanor. Can you read books of space?
We sure can read books, and we do read books. And in fact, we talk about the books that we read. Books are kind of heavy, so oftentimes now we send them up and we read them on our tablets, because then we don't have to launch such heavy books. And with the internet, we can put new books on. But there are also astronauts reading books on the internet. So if you ask your teachers or the librarian or maybe one of your family members, if they can help you find an astronaut reading a book, they will be able to find a lot of books that I think you'd enjoy that we read in space.
Hi, my name is Olivia. Did you always want to be an astronaut?
Hey, Olivia, a lot like many of you, I bet. When I was about this tall, I wanted to be an astronaut. So I've always wanted to fly, and I've always loved space. I used to drag my family out to the middle of nowhere in Colorado, away from the city lights, to watch the meteor showers go on. So I've just always loved space and always wanted to be an astronaut. And then when the shuttle was around, as soon as I found out you could fly the shuttle, I was like, that's what I want to do. So I was a very serious little kid who set really high goals for myself. And then, like I said, I worked hard and I tried to be a good team player, and it got me to where I am today.
Hi, my name is Elias. What kind of experiment are you working on right now?
Elias, we have over 200 experiments going on at any one time, so I'll just tell you about one. And that's right here. You can even see part of it. And this is a microscope that is looking at little tiny pieces in some fluids and seeing how it moves. And what they're trying to do is see how they can image liquids and contaminants in liquids in space so that we have safe drinking water. So it's a really cool microscope that can see really small things but also track them while they move.
Hi, my name is Malia. Have you ever seen a dying star?
Hey, Maria. So not personally, I don't think, but oftentimes we see stars that have already died, right? And the light just hasn't reached us. So I'm sure that just like we've all seen dying stars. But I will say the view from up here is pretty spectacular. The sky is super black at night, and the stars just seem so much more brilliant when we're not looking through the atmosphere at them.
Hi, my name is Logan. Do you ever play games or do something fun to relax?
Logan, it is so fun to play games with our friends, even when we're adults and even when we're in space. We had movie night just last week. We have a space ping pong game. I think we're going to try some bowling pretty soon, so that'll be kind of special. But we definitely have some fun, relax. One of the cooler things to see is how a slinky moves in space.
Hi, my name is Charlotte. How did you become an astronaut?
Hey, Charlotte. So like I said before, a lot of hard work, a lot of teamwork, and then a lot of training. So everybody here was a professional and really good at what they did beforehand. So like I said, Ann and I were both pilots, but we have engineers, we have doctors. So everybody had a whole career before they came to NASA, and they were really good at that one thing. And then we all shifted gears and learned how to be an astronaut, where we learned how to do maintenance, we learned how to do science, we even get some medical training, robotics training. We all learned how to speak Russian. So there's a lot lot of different things that we do here on the International Space Station.
Hi, my name is Lily. Do you have any chores in space?
We do have chores in space. In fact, every Saturday we have to clean the whole space station. So we take turns vacuuming, wiping down all the surfaces, and then just cleaning up all the junk that we've left around space station that week. It's very important to keep it clean because no one's going to come here and do it for us. So we got to do it all.
Hi, my name is Jesus. What is the weirdest thing you saw float by?
Man, I think actually we were just chatting about this. I think a human being is probably the weirdest thing that I've seen float by. Oftentimes someone will float right by you and you don't hear them or see them because they don't make noise when they move, and it can be a little scary sometimes. So, and sometimes they just disappear in the ceiling. So I think the weirdest thing might be humans up here.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. How do you fix the space station?
That is a great question, and we brought some tools just to show you. So we go outside of the space station and we fix it from the inside. But when we go outside, Nicole's going to show you one of the gloves that we wear and then one of the drills. I bet some of you have seen a family member working on a drill, or maybe you guys have used a drill. And this is the version of the outer space drill. So that is our, what we call PGT. And that can drive bolts outside of the space station. And when we go outside of the space station, we wear a spacesuit. Nicole has one of those gloves to that spacesuit. And if you notice how big the tools are, it's because the glove, it's like wearing a big ski mitt. And so the tools are big, and they're, it kind of feels, you don't feel very dexterous, right? You can't wiggle your fingers very well. And so they designed the tools especially for the gloves. And just a couple weeks ago, Nicole and I went outside of the space station, and we used drills, we used wrenches, we used some other tools to fix and upgrade the space station. So we do it all ourselves. But also, if you think about everything that can break in your house, right? The plumbing, the electricity, the air system, we have to be able to fix all of that stuff too. Luckily, we don't have to know how to fix all of that. But Mission Control does, and their specialists tell us how to fix the stuff, and then we become the hands of the plumber, of the electrician, and everything else.
Thank you to NASA, the International Space Station, our CBS PTA, the Bethpage Public Library, our families, staff, and students for making today so special. Instead of goodbye at CBS, we say happy reading. But today we will say happy reading and happy exploring. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Always dream big, never give up on your dreams, and believe in yourself. It can take you to some pretty crazy places, huh?
Yeah, it can.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.